All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you can hear me okay, please let me know in the chat. And let me just make sure my settings are good. Okay, let me see if I got this set up. Perfect. All right, I've got a big show for you guys. I've got a lot. I promise you this will be worth it to tune into this live. My goodness. Sounds good? Awesome. Much love. Happy Friday to everybody. I just want to let you guys know my heart rate is a little bit elevated, so just bear with me. But yeah, heart's elevated a little bit. Okay, all right. Let's get into it, guys. This was one show that turned into two shows that turned into three different concepts because holy hell. Again, it's one of those things that if you guys have been following me with this case, you know, especially with the 3 a.m. lights, I've looked at it for over 200 plus hours. And there's always something where I have to like take a month break. I come back and then, you know, there's another little thing that kind of pops out to me. And today was that same situation. And thank God, because it is, oof. I think it's big. It's big. I don't think it's big. It is big. All right, let's go. And I appreciate, I don't want to drag out, you know, and I appreciate the love and support. Yeah, the stomach issues are just on and off. I have my good days and bad days, and I try to get the content out as much as I can. Sometimes it's just, you know, it's been slower in May and June. I feeling a little bit better, but again, it's just kind of a hit and miss thing, and you know, I am going to the doctor, and we're just kind of slowly trying to figure stuff out, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, guys. I do have like a goal. I don't set those goals often, but because May and June were like really bad for me. If you'd like to support the channel, it is up there. All right, guys, let's get going because I've got so much. Yeah. All right, real quick recap on Sebastian Rogers. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover true crime, mystery to the missing video. Just to recap, Sebastian Rogers, who at the time was a 15-year-old autistic teenager. He sadly went missing between the night of the 25th and the morning of 26th of February of 2024. It's now been over a year and still no trace of Sebastian Rogers. Now, if you're not familiar with this case, I would encourage you to check out the 2 videos in this series. The link to those are down in the description below. Not long after Sebastian Rogers' disappearance, a local reporter, Nick Bears, would release a short video showing lights moving in the background near the Proudfeet's home the same night Sebastian Rogers disappeared. Okay. Good to have the mic on. Thank you, YouTuber Snarky. I appreciate it. Yeah, because yeah, we'll get to that for sure. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, YouTuber. All right, guys. Yeah, a lot to go over. Holy cow! Like I said, this turned into 3 different live shows by the time I got finished with this. Probably do the 2, and then I'm going to save 1 for the members and Patreons. But I promise we'll get into a lot. But I promise you, I've got something big, multiple things. All right, so as we let some people filter in, because I promise you, this is going to be a big one.
We first aired the video.
Search efforts in
and taking it out of
it was 460.
Okay.
to ask for the community's help. If you know anything about Sebastian's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI. Those numbers can be found on our website at WKRN.com. Live in Gallatin, Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
Thank you, Connie. All right. So as we let some people filter in, because there's a couple routes that I want to go with this, because this is a case that can be solved. It just needs to be in a department that actually cares. The evidence is there. The evidence is there, and I'm gonna show you some stuff and give you guys some clues. I gave you a hint at the beginning of the video. Maybe some of you caught it. Maybe some of you haven't. But again, yeah. All right. So real quick, let me just show you guys what social media can do. You know, when law enforcement swallows their pride and allow the social media to help, let me just show you what they can do. It's pretty amazing, right? Because this will come full circle, right? So I'm just going to show two examples. One of them, yeah, it's pretty neat. So again, this is just to allow people to come in. So about 7 years ago, I think this is, I don't know if this is Washington State or Washington, D.C. I'm assuming Washington State. Yeah, because it does say Washington State. So they found a bicyclist. It was a fatality. And it was just on the side of a highway, you know, kind of in a very rural area, you know, like farmland or something like that. No security cameras. They just found, I'm not sure if it was a male. I didn't actually look at the actual case. I just want to go over the main parts of it. But anyway, so they found this bicyclist dead. The bike was all busted up and it was just off the highway. What do you guys think it was? Likely a hit and run. So, no witnesses, no surveillance footage, nothing. All they found was one single piece of evidence. And you're looking at it right there. This detective swallowed the pride. And check out how he's got his hand. This is pretty cool because usually when you have evidence and you're like sending like photos to somebody, you always want to have something to measure. Usually you'll take like a dollar bill. Let's say you found like a bone. You might think it's like a finger bone or, you know, something that's small enough to fit in a dollar. You'll use a dollar bill. That way they, you know the dimensions of the dollar bill. Notice how he has it in his hand. He almost has it like right here. So people could literally, you could just look at your hand and go, oh, yeah, I can see that that's about this big here, you know, I don't know, 4 to 5 inches. And then you can actually even tell the width, how he almost has it at the edge of his palm there, near his knuckles. And so you can get an idea of the, you know, the width and the length, right? That's all they have. One little piece, right? So they sent it to Reddit to see if anybody could figure this out. And in just a couple of days on Reddit, people were talking about it. And check this out. One piece of evidence. That's all they have. Nothing. No witnesses, no surveillance, nothing. No cell records. 7 years ago, Washington State, they just had this little piece of plastic. So on Reddit, long story short, these two guys were the main important ones. This Descript person at the top and Jeff's nuts. So they were kind of going back and forth. Clearly, they knew a lot about you know, parts to vehicles, and so they were collabing in the first few days, going back. And the Descript person on top, he said, you know, gosh, it looks like this. It looks like a bezel, which is it's kind of like the trim on a headlight that goes around the headlight. And he noticed because of the notch where that knuckle is right there, he realized, oh, that looks like this little piece. And then from there, it didn't take long for Jeff here, because he, and I'm not going to read this entire thing, but he found out exactly what the model was and what it went to what specific truck. And he says, well, people are asking, how did I know this? Well, I used to be a Maryland state inspector for a long time, and he specifically inspected truck inspections. And I guess at a certain point, they were that specific state had some kind of mandatory thing with the headlights in the front. So I guess he was, when he was doing inspections, he'd come across certain vehicles. And anyway, he came across these older model trucks, specifically I think it's a Chevy Silverado, and he's like, yeah, this is the vehicle. Well, shortly they send that over to Washington State, and lo and behold, of course, I think definitely they got lucky because of the vehicle being an older model. Obviously, not many people are probably driving those, but at the end of the day, a few days after that, because of a couple people on Reddit, they were able to find the vehicle. They were able to place the part, and because of that, the guy freaked out and then confessed. He originally he said, "Oh, I thought I hit a deer," and then as they were speaking with him, then he started saying, "Oh, well, I think I did hit that person, but I was too afraid to look, I was scared." We've heard, for those that hit the hit and run and the excuses those people come up with, thought they hit something or didn't realize they heard a noise, but didn't think nothing of it. Anyway, so that just kind of shows you one little piece of evidence, and this leads to a confession, right? Swallowed the pride. They took it to social media. Bam. Few days. Could you imagine if they did not put that up there? Yeah, maybe they could have solved it. Who knows? Or they would have took too long, and this guy would have left the country. And but again, so as you can see, clearly this is the vehicle, and that bezel went into the right side of the. I don't know if it's. I guess it depends on how you would look at it. I guess the left side. But you can see where clearly it had broken off here with the headlight. And anyway, the guy confessed. Amazing. So there'll be a reason why I'm bringing this up. So one more other story, and then we'll get to the big stuff. But there's a reason why I'm going this route. We'll get to chat here. But this is so amazing what, when people can come together, right? It's amazing. So another one with Reddit. This guy makes a post. This is about 10 years ago. I don't know what state it is. But it's April 15th, about a decade ago. And it's posted in the legal part because, in a nutshell, I'm not going to read it all, but he's saying that he's finding these Post-it notes, and he doesn't think he's the one leaving these Post-it notes. And one of them apparently says, "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you, but it's important we do." Then he says, and this is going on for like a month. He's finding these Post-it notes. He doesn't think he wrote them. And then he goes on to say, "You know what? I noticed my landlord's handwriting is the same as the writing on my Post-it notes." And it keeps continuing. He says, "I set up my webcam in my room, and then I wake up the next day and I find these Post-it notes, but I don't see anybody on the webcam. Like, where are these Post-it notes coming from?" And so he's freaking out. And so anyway, the reason why he went to the legal part of it is because he was convinced that his landlord was breaking into his apartment and leaving these random Post-it notes and messing with him. He even went on to say that, I swear I saw Post-it notes throughout the apartment complex, right? So clearly something really wrong here. Well, he goes on to say, because again, this took over a month. I'm not sure, but at least a month, because it starts in April and it's in May, and he's still talking. And again, he wants to sue his landlord, right? Because he's thinking his landlord's breaking into his apartment and leaving these Post-it notes, right? Well, come to find out, people started asking. So it kind of got out of hand, and some people were kind of thinking that he was just making this story up, right? It was kind of like just trying to get some attention. And then we have this guy here, Kakerlak. Thank God for this guy. he was noticing, because again, I'm sorry I didn't read everything because I want to get to the other stuff with Sebastian, and we'll get to this is the last part, but this is amazing. So he goes on to mention the Bradbury guy, who is the guy that's dealing with this Post-it note thing, and he had mentioned that he was in a bedroom. So his apartment, I guess, I'm not sure how it's set up, but in his bedroom, there's no windows. Okay, very important. It's a kind of a small room, no windows, right? And this, I've seen apartments like this. Usually they'll do like 3-bedroom apartments, and one of them, when we lived in one, the 3rd bedroom, you could tell it used to be a 2-bedroom, but they had like a closet next door to our apartment, and they just literally just made a doorway and then just made a 3rd bedroom in the closet, and it clearly had no windows or nothing. Yeah. So anyway, so what was it? And I'm sure you guys, if you guys are reading it, if you can see it, you'll see what the issue was. Again, a lot of people were kind of buying into it, and then a lot of people are like, this guy's making, this is weird. Oh, and the other thing he was saying, he was suffering from headaches. So at the first, this Kakerlak says, yeah, you might be dealing with some mental health issues. Do you leave Post-it notes for yourself? And could it be some dissociative disorder? And then he's like, or it could be a carbon monoxide issue. And guess what? Again, this took months. Come to find out, he's suffering from memory loss, headaches, nauseous, and this guy took him seriously, this Kakerlak. And if you'd go back, you could see like a lot of people who are like, this guy's kind of, trying to pull, fast one. This is amazing. This ended up being a podcast. But anyway, yep, this guy said, hey, do you have a CO detector? Perhaps if you do, get one and plug it into your bedroom. And here is where, before they solved it, here's Bradbury saying, yeah, I have really bad headaches. And he's like, yeah, actually, I do have a CO detector. I just haven't plugged it in. Well, come to find out, oops, went way too far. Oh, did I not put the dang it, I didn't put the last one. Anyway, I had another screenshot. Yeah, he plugged it in, and it read 110 ppm, which is, oh gosh, I looked it up. Pounds per millis. Oh gosh, it's something else. Anyway, it was at the level where it's not fatal, but over a long time, it is going to mess you up. Anyway, long story short, yeah, this guy saved his life. It was a carbon monoxide thing. He was in his bedroom, and there was just enough carbon monoxide that he was literally just breaking down and not remembering because of the CO. And if that would have kept going on, he would have, at those levels, it says that, at those levels, it's not quite deadly, but being exposed for a long time, you would have started suffering from permanent damage. So pretty wild, right? Again, when people come together. So anyway, this is where I was going to go with one of my lives is, I kind of want to start a Reddit and maybe a 4chan in multiple scenarios with the stuff that I have and see what we could do with the surveillance that I have. Because I think there could be some stuff. Parts per million. Thank you, Kat. I know I read that earlier because I want to say like pounds per, pressure per minute or something like that. Parts per million. That's what it is. Thank you, Kat. Was that on a Mr. Bowen? I know a lot of people covered that. Yeah, it's called like the Post-it notes. Yeah, it is wild. And it was, like I said, that guy, it's pretty amazing that guy took him seriously. Because a lot of people didn't. So it does make me want to do something like this, because there is a lot of different, obviously, topics. What is this car? I've seen some amazing things done on that, where maybe I could do that with this. Maybe I could also, with the surveillance footage, give them a limited supply. If I could give it to a group that can understand more about, I don't know, metadata, somebody that's, has a background in surveillance, know a lot more. Just little things that could come out from this. But that would be a goal that I'd like to do. Because even though I think we've got a general idea of the main car, there's always still room for error, right? Alan says, I think the Great Salt Lake has, we're definitely worried about, if the Great Salt Lake here dries up, because it's got it kind of keeping those toxins down in there. But our Great Salt Lake, which is basically used to be Lake Bonneville and used to cover multiple states, and now it's just the Great Salt Lake, and it is drying up very, very fast. It's kind of scary. And if that dries up, then we'll lose kind of the rain that we would normally get, because obviously water effect. Anyway, but yeah, it is kind of scary. All right, so like I said, I've got a huge show. So that's one angle I wanted to go into, but then as I was kind of going through this, something hit me, and I'm like, oh my God, why did I not see that before? It was just like right there in front of me. And again, just like everything, you start focusing on one thing, and then there's, you kind of get closed-minded, and then there's other things that are there. They're there. You just gotta, of course. And it hasn't, again, this community has been amazing. And we'll definitely read through your comments. But again, as you guys know, I've had some ideas. The best, I ran a bunch of AI or images through the AI with multiple shots from from basically just taking a screenshot from point A to point B, and then it coming back, and it gave me the best possibility of the four main cars. At least the February 26th one is. All right, so. Okay, let me get to this. I'm going to pause it here in a second, because we're going to get to the big stuff here. Now that we got nearly 800 people in here, thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time. I promise you it'll be worth it. I just ask everybody to please be respectful in the chat. I think I only have one mod tonight. I think, I think one may be sick, and then another one's dealing with some storms, and so please, thank you, NJs, for coming in and helping me out. God bless you, sweetheart. Okay. I want to get to chat, because I know we had a lot, and we hit half the goal already. And you can get some snarky Chris at the end.
Don't believe that.
All right. Let me just leave it right here, so I can quickly get to chat for a second, and then we're going to get to the shit.
Short time later,
right.
And it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area.
So I just want to say thank you, Fly Girl, for 14 months. Chris, what can I say? You're an amazing friend. And I am so grateful, right back at you, tenfold. And Jazz gifting mob crew memberships, always gifting mob, gifting memberships, not even just on my channel, other channels. That is so awesome. To have I have the best mods. Thank you so much. YouTuber, thank you for the snarky fun. Connie Cruz, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Fly Girl says, when you get a chance, orders liquid. Yes, liquid IV. Yeah. Sandra D, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. God bless you. Rhonda says, thanks for staying on this case. Yeah, I know we were covering the Jack and Lily case for a while. To me, it's just kind of gotten out of hand. In my opinion, there's nothing really. You've got with the Jack and Lily case, you just got extended family members pointing shade at each other, and I think they each have an agenda, and things are getting lost, and it's just a mess. I'm waiting for something big, and of course, I continue to keep an eye on that case. When I think there's something actual worth talking about, we'll go over it. Haley Ryder, thank you so much. Gosh, I lost my spot. Thanks for all you do. Let's bring Sebastian. I promise you, when we get to the highlight of this show, we're gonna, Lisa B, regular people who are not law enforcement have knowledge too. Exactly, Lisa. You see, like I said, and I just showed two examples. There's examples of like a podcast. I forget the podcast name, but they help bring attention to I think it's Kristen Smart. Correct me if I'm wrong. Kirsten or Kristen Smart, a podcast that covered that case for I don't know how long it was, and they ended up helping bring attention to that case, which I think then there was arrests made. It's been a while since I've correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure it's something to that effect. Bo, thank you so much for the $2. Another gifted by Njaz. Thank you so much, sweetie. Lisa says, thank you, Chris, for all the hours you put into the Sebastian Rogers case. It means the world to me. Mama says, Mima, I'm sorry. Know where I'd rather be, Chris Mob Crew. Thank you so much. And then we have Black Widow. Moss flying out of my purse. Oh my gosh. Good to see you, Black Widow, and I appreciate it. I know it's kind of late where you're at. Means the world. All right, guys. Let's get into it. I'm going to take a sip. Again, my heart was a little elevated at the beginning. Yeah. I'm fine, by the way. I'm fine. Actually, I think it would have been... And that's a better risk to check. Okay. All right. Anyway, we move on. All right, you guys ready? Let's break this down. Let's tear the roof down on this thing.
You see subject
Okay,
toward the first.
Okay. I should have wrote down the timestamps. Jeez.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me get my notes ready. We're gonna get the party started. All right, guys. I'm gonna show you some interesting stuff here. All right, let's get it going. There's my boy. Silver's on the scene. In the description, I would go and say, if you have time, go down in the link in the description down there and subscribe to Silver's on the scene. There's a lot of people, including my chat, who have been amazing supporters, and I'm sure they've done stuff. I know there's people that have their own channels and stuff. But I like to shout out Silver's because he lives, I think, in Georgia. And he literally drives all the way to Tennessee and goes and searches for Sebastian. It's just truly amazing. Yeah, my heart rate's better now. It's fine now. Heart rate's better. Much better. Some don't think too much into it. All right, guys. So, here we go. Atlanta. Oh, is that where he's? Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, that's so amazing. Again, and I know there's other people, but I have to hit a huge shout out to him. My God, what an amazing guy. All right, so here's some surveillance footage, and so I'm going to give you some context to kind of understand. So for those, and again, I'm not an expert in surveillance, but then I learned some stuff, and then I'm like, oh my God. Oh, it was right there. It was right there in front of us the entire time. Okay. So here is some wide shots. Something I haven't done before. I usually zoom in. This time I blurred out because I have to be respectful to the people that allowed me to have this surveillance footage. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the timestamps. And I'm gonna show you guys something that happens with a lot of these surveillance footage. Okay, right here. It's coming up. All right. This is very important, this first part. Sensei, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in, sweetie. All right. Okay, here's the first part. And I'm going to show you guys something. Okay, so this is the 3 a.m. car when it's coming back down the road. Now, I'm just showing two clips from two different things. Now, when you have these surveillances, a lot of these companies, a lot of them have two different settings. Well, I guess the older ones would have three. But the main two is if you have the older versions, they would just record motion sensor, right? Now, when it records motion censored, right, depending on how much action's going on in the clip, depends on how long the clip is. So you'll get a thing where you'll either have 12-second clips or you have 1 minute clips. And I think it can go to 1 minute and 20, if I recall. I could look that up. But the main two are 12-second clips and 1 minute clips. Now, this is very, very, very important. So, as you can see, I've got the time stamp, and I just want to show you. I should have slow motion at the beginning of this. See if I can pause at the right point, because I'm going to show you guys something. Okay, so look at the timestamp. This is right at the beginning of this 12-second clip, right? Notice the time. It's 2:59:31 seconds. I think it probably started on the 30, maybe. But keep that in mind, right? So we have a 12-second clip. Now, this is not the full 12 seconds. I just probably cut this down to about 6 seconds. I don't know. Actually, no, that is the full 12 seconds. Okay, so that is the full 12 seconds. Another 12-second clip. This is the bus the next day coming up Kellen. Look at the timestamp. The video starts at 6:20 and either 18 or 19 seconds. I'm not sure if it was in the middle of flipping. But just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. So again, 12-second clip. Now notice, both of these didn't start like on the minute flat, right? Didn't start at 6:20. It was what? Oh gosh, now I forget. It was like 6:19, 6:20:19, I think it was. Oh geez, I knew I should have paused this, slowed this down, but okay. Anyway, so but you get the point. It just this clip, these 12-second clips just start, right when the action's about to start, and it's usually inside the minute, right? Sometimes it can be started on the minute, but you're going to see a pattern here. Now, the other ones that you get are minute clips. Now, this is going to happen with most of all their surveillance that's collected in this neighborhood, right? A lot of them have Ring camera setups, right, which usually have about the same setup, right? And I can promise you, like I said, I got my sources. Now, this is a minute clip. Do you guys notice something at the top right-hand corner? This is right at the beginning of the 1 minute clip. And again, you guys are smart. I'm sure you guys can put this out in 2 seconds. Do you guys notice the time, the minute? Right up here. Do you notice? This is one of the 1 minute clips. It starts right on the minute. Half right, Kathy. Half right. There's a reason why I'm showing you this, because there's 12-second clips, 1-minute clips, and I think a 1-minute 20 clip. Oh, did I not get the second one? Wait, I swear I put 2 in. Did I not do the second one? Okay, so second. Okay, so that's one. I swear to God, I had two 1-minute clips too. Okay. As you can see. Yes, thank you, Kathy. Yep. Thank you. Okay, so for the 1-minute clip, and I went through them all, they all start right on the minute, flat, right? Keep that in mind. So here's the bus. This is actually the bus going up and coming back down. That's why it's a minute, right? Here's another minute clip. That's okay. So yeah, it goes really quick because I just cut the bus out. Oh, geez. I probably should have slowed this down. My goodness. Promise this will be very important. Should have slowed this down. I didn't even think about this going so fast. So notice it's 6:32 for this clip. I think this is... Yeah, this is the bus. Yeah, this is the bus going up. Then we have... I'll pause it here in just a second. Then we have... This might have been Katie? No, 6:21. I'm not sure. Or this was a guy walking. Either way, it's a 1-minute clip. Notice the time. 6:21 even, right? Starts right at the minute, right? So you'll have a folder with a bunch of 12-minute clips, or 12-second clips. Let me get in frame here. 12-second clips, right? That just start wherever. They don't start right on the minute, right? These are just short action clips, they call them, right? Sometimes there'll be a cat running across or whatever. But again, a lot of my some of my 12-second clips are of the 3am car, and then some are 1-minute clips. It just kind of depends, right? Keep that in mind. Yes, please hit that like button. Oh, we're most the way there to the goal. Thank you guys so much, and we'll get back to that. No, the time will be right. I don't know what it is, but it'll start on a minute. So you'll notice in some videos, there won't be action because I guess since it's starting on the minute, you won't see anything come for a bit. You know, like I have one clip. I guess I should have showed the full bus clip. But you'll notice, especially with the 1-minute clips, either something starts right away, and then when it's coming back or whatever, and then there's some dead air. So either there's some dead air in the beginning or dead air at the end, if that makes sense. But from what I notice, all the clips that I have in a minute start right at the minute, flat. Then all the action, the quick action ones, just start wherever, and they're 12 seconds. Keep that in mind. Okay. Yeah, it'll clip the entire minute. Yep. And then just fit that. And then again, there are I think it goes up to 1 minute and 20 seconds if it, whatever that event happens more than, again. So keep that in mind. So let's go back to the beginning. Well, not to the beginning. Let's go back to earlier this year, because holy hell, it was right there in front of me. And my God. So here we have this. For those that don't know, we'll get into the backstory of this. This is the neighbor behind the Stink Feet's home who have a surveillance camera that is pointed towards their backyard. Right? And there was a lot of weird stuff going on, A lot of weird stuff. But there was something that was just sticking right out in front of me this entire time, and I'm like, how did I not see this? How did I not see this?
It's a short time later.
Okay. So we've kind of gone over the leaked clips, right? Some really shady stuff because, SF had released, just one screenshot and, he blurred the entire home, which is, he's trying to make the point, which I'm going to pull up the thing here because we're going to get to the big stuff here. And then, Katie's light was on, and then, of course, now at 5 a.m. it's not, No red flag there at all, right? No red flag there at all. Yeah. So anyway, I ran all these screenshots through the AI, and we'll kind of get into that in just a minute. But let's get into the post, and this is where everything will kind of come full circle. And we got, like I said, I had 3 shows, which I'll probably do 2, and then 1 for the members and Patreons, because there's more to go over here. Okay. So real quick, this, I tried to, I gave it all the screenshots I could find and, asked it, okay, what are we working with, right? Because a lot of the other cameras, I can get a fairly decent idea of the field of view. This is a nice camera, right? For those that know this home, this is the homeowner that allegedly knows the stink feet. This is the guy. Actually, let me mention that here in just a minute. So let me read this. I'm not going to read all of it. So this is fish sticks, right? Here we go, fish sticks. Oh, we're almost to the snarkiness. All right, snarky's coming. We're 9 out of 10. Oh, there we go. All right, snarky's coming. Okay. So here's him. Posting the first post, I think this is early February, right? Says, this is me saying enough is enough, right? Fish sticks saying, this is enough. Let those who generally care about finding the truth. I can't believe he could type that out with the... I wonder how he sleeps at night. Anyway, wow. Finding the truth, to do so without interference from false narratives created for profit. This guy was making way more money than all of our channels. That's for damn sure. So the hypocrisy in this first sentence is just absolutely ludicrous. Ludicrous. We have footage from behind the house just as we have footage from in front of the house. Huge. That sentence right there, I know it's not like a sentence, it's kind of half the sentence because he finished it. Well, along with over 100 hours of additional footage from the neighborhood. That sentence right there. Big. Sebastian is not being carried anywhere by anyone. Oh, interesting. So you're saying you don't see anything on either camera that's literally facing the back of the house. So if he goes out one way, he's most likely to be seen on one or if not both cameras. Or if he comes out the other way, there's a good chance, less likely, but a good chance he'll be seen on one or both cameras if he goes the other way. Definitely if he goes north, we'll get into that. There's no way in hell he's going north. It's time for Seth Rogers to answer on the national stage, blah, 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 absolute nonsense. And here he is pointing, because remember, and I'll show you, and then we're going to come full circle. Here, why I showed you the 12 seconds and the minute, right? So remember, the reason he posted this was because this was to show that there's no funny business going on at 3:06 and 56 seconds? 51 seconds. Such a weird time. Such a strange timestamp, right? Remember, we're saying hey, well, let me play this and then we'll get to the argument and then we'll get to the big reveal here. So remember, we knew that this was stuck, but, going off Nick Barris, because clearly he talked to the homeowners. That's why he knew it was pointed towards the backyard of the stink feet, and he said, yeah, this happened around 3:10 a.m. And so that's been kind of our narrative on this side. We're like, yeah, this likely happened. And then when we finally got that footage of the 3 a.m. car, that which literally nobody knows about this 3 a.m. car. It drives right up Kellen, comes right back around. And by the time it probably enters the Kellen and Stafford intersection, it is probably 3 a.m. on the dot. That sounds like military style. If this vehicle is allegedly involved, this sounds like, these people were trained, they're they plan this, right? We're going to be here at the specific time, right? Okay. So remember that. We kept saying, funny stuff's going on at 3:10, right? So here we come full circle with this. And I promise you we got much more, but this is kind of like the big reveal. So what does Fisher do? Now, if I was Fisher, I'm sorry, gosh, I don't know who Fisher is. If I was Fish Sticks, and I want to prove that there's no funny business going on, and I have full 24/7 surveillance from this camera. When you take like a screenshot, say you'd post one at 3 a.m. with the timestamp, one at 3:05 with the timestamp, and then like 3:10 with the timestamp, right? Wouldn't that make sense? If that's your what you're trying to achieve, right? You're trying to say, hey, there's no funny business. Here's one at 3 a.m., here's one at 3:05, and here's at 3:10. And hey, why not? Here's one at 3:15, right? That's what I would do. Again, if there was nothing, or I would actually just release the clip, a 2-3 minute clip, in a respectful fashion, with obviously, with everybody's approval. If I was working that side, and felt like they, had nothing to do with it, that would seem much more convincing, right? But no, what does he do? Actually, let me go back here. So what does he do? He gives us one picture with the timestamp of 3:06 and 51 seconds. Now, what did I tell you guys about the 12-second clips? Man, I wish I could organize them so I could show you guys. But I've got a bunch of 12-second clips, and I've got a bunch of 1-minute clips because, again, that's just kind of how it breaks it up, right? And these are motion-censored events, and they're put into folders, okay? So, why is it at 3:06 and 51 seconds? Unless this was taken from a motion-censored event, and this is either at the beginning or at the end where, we can't see. And even, let's say somebody was moving, but they're dark enough that, he found a spot where it's just, there's nothing moving, because obviously our attention would be here, right? But think about it. Wouldn't you, again, as somebody who's worked with footage of all lengths, wouldn't you, why 3:06 and 51 seconds? right? Seems such a weird timestamp, and it just makes me think that this is, because remember, the car in in our scenario here, the car arrives at 3 a.m. I think everything happened within 5 to 7 minutes max. This was, I think the car, when it turned on to Stafford and triggered the motion light, I think that stalled them for a minute or two, because clearly the car waited until the floodlights were off. I've shown that before. That's no coincidence. Like, that's so weird. Like, if the car just got turned off on the wrong road, then we should have seen that car backing up while the floodlight was still on. Now, if floodlights can be, set to anywhere from like a minute, I think like a minute and a half, to up to much longer, like 5 minutes or something like that. Around in there. But I think like the default is like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, something like that. So it's clear that car sat there waiting until that floodlight turned off and backed up. So I think this, in my opinion, is from a 12-second clip, and it's either at the beginning of the 12-second event or at the end, where there's, you just can't see any movement. And he didn't think about it. So let me show you another thing to back this up, right? So again, I sent all the screenshots that I know of to AI, and I asked it, what can you tell me about, what can you tell me about this camera? The field of view, the megapixels, and can you tell me, your best guess on the information I've given you? What kind of version of Ring Cam? And this one doesn't have it. I think it's at the end. Let me skip this forward. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So, according to it felt like it's either the first generation Spotlight Ring Cam, which, if that is the case, it only, according to this, I could be wrong, somebody could correct me in chat, it only records motion events. Now, it's possible you could have the upgraded version. If so, it does have the motion events with a 24/7 recording. Oops. Which we see here. So as you can see, the Spotlight Cam first gen, no supporting the 24/7 recorded, but the rest of the upgrades do. But they also say they have to be hardwired, plugged in. I guess the Wi-Fi, I don't know. Again, a little bit over my experience, but again, when I kept asking it, what could you narrow me down to one specific, or, and again, it told me it was somewhere between the first gen or one of the slight upper grades. So again, it's kind of a 50-50, but again, I'm going to read the chat for a minute, but let me know, again, if your fish sticks and your point is to try to prove that there's nothing going on, you send a screenshot at 3:06:51 a.m., which is just weird, right? I'd understand, okay, you're like going to show, okay, maybe you're trying to go in the middle between 3:05 and 3:10. It's still, and so maybe you get to 3:07 and you take a screenshot and it's like 3:0. Well, I mean, you just pause it. I mean, you're clearly taking this using a video editor. So that's the other argument. He would be in a video editor, right? And I'll read chat here in just a minute. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, no, I don't need ads. Let me go. Okay. So here's me, right? And so we got. Oh shoot, this is full. It sucks when it's like that. Move it over. No, don't do that. Okay. So here's my timeline, right? I can go anywhere I want, right? And so to me, if I'm in it, if I fish sticks, I would try to get to 3 a.m., and around on the dot, and maybe I accidentally, I'm like, okay, screw it, it's 6 seconds over. It just seems so weird that timestamp that he's got up there when he could easily just go right to, 306, 307 on the dot, right? It just seems weird. And then why not show a clip, right? Why not show a clip? If there's nothing going on, that would be the biggest, that would shut, if he showed a bunch of a couple of minute clips from, 3 a.m., a 3:05 clip, a 3:10 clip, and there was nothing, that would be a huge, bombshell to this side, saying, look, there's nothing going on, even though he could probably just pick, spots where there's nothing going on and there's stuff in between, but still, that would be such a big argument. But no, he gives us the screenshot here, and then thanks to, another channel who decided to give us the unedited version, which again, sorry, I'm trying to think what I got here, which clearly shows lights on, and of course we've gotten the Katie bedroom light on, but we're going to get to part 2 here in a second. But let me know what you think. Again, I'm not saying I know this for a fact, but just knowing from this case and other surveillance, people are usually have the forget all the exact terms, but they have these folders with the 12-second clips, the event clips, and the 1-minute clips. And so to me, I think there's a good possibility that this clip at 3:06 and 51 seconds was an event clip. And I don't think he was thinking about it. I could be wrong. It could be from the 24/7 live stream if it is an upgraded system that had the hardwire in it. I would still beg the question, so weird why he's just at that 3:06:51 seconds. You can always argue both sides, but let me know what you think in chat. We got much more to go over. Yes, Mo. And I am so upset. I'm not upset at the person that released it. I'm upset at their team because, again, I asked people, and maybe because we got a lot of people in here. Oh my gosh, we almost have 1,000 people. I promise you, I've got more. This is kind of the big one because it's just I'm going through all the footage and I'm just noticing all the 12-second event clips are not starting on the minute, and they're just, randomly throughout. And I don't know. Little sus for me. And then the fact that you go out of your, why do you blur this? What is this going to do? We have Google Earth. We can see the home. We have, we've had pictures. What is this? Again, I know we have the unedited version, thank God. But it's just, why? Why? So, anyway, let me read some chat. How do we know it's a Ring camera? So I ran it through the AI. So I guess Nest is part of Google, and they have like a subscription. You can, and I guess Ring's connected with Nest. Again, it's a little bit out of my, because I know it says Nest at the top, and I think Google's associated with that. I don't know. Maybe they'll have a collab. Maybe someone in chat can kind of, but I was really trying to understand, as much as give as much information and give me kind of, the best kind of top brands I would think, and the point of view, the megapixels, and what's its capabilities. Admitted everything was on his game. Everything was fake. Yeah. Yes, I know it says Nest. I don't know why when I give it to the AI, it's telling me that, again, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll have to run it through the AI. Anyway, even if, let's just say it's an offshoot, at the same time, the main thing, it wouldn't matter what brand, whatever. These typically record in those events. This is what it comes down to. Ring camera, Nest, whatever. The other cameras are completely, the one that I just showed you from, that it's got the 3M card. That's was, I don't know, brand is it? Wise with a Y in the middle, not WISE. It's WYZE. But again, yeah, that's what I thought, because that's what it was telling me with AI. Like it's kind of like you have like a subscription, so that's why it's got Nest up there. Even though you got the Ring, I think you kind of like got it like a Nest subscription. That's what I kind of got. I've got a lot to learn, but again, that's a little more like it's not what I'm worried about. It's what the camera's capabilities and what the generation of the camera is. Because if this is a first gen, then this is almost undoubtedly a 12-second event that he just posted and probably didn't think anybody would notice. I could be wrong. Google purchase, yes. Yeah, because I mentioned Google a lot. Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest, like, holy red flag in the world. Why your argument is tried to say, look, there's nothing going on, but yeah, let me just put a big black box and show you the timestamp and say, trust me, bro. Right? Crazy. So I'm still looking into this. Okay, don't think my heart rate is elevated. Okay, we're good. Okay, next part. And we're going to get snarky here. So I did question, because it did look also in this screenshot. Now, I'm going to be transparent in this. I'm not 100% sure now that I'm more looked into it, but man, this was so weird. So if you look at it, it appears that there's a light on. Now, I could be wrong. This could be just the infrared that is picking this up, and it's just getting this white. But I just noticed, like, it's so weird that this lip off the, is it the overhang? Overhead, whatever, for the porch, the lip that comes down on this, it's so much brighter, as if there is a light source that is shining on this and even shining into the background. Again, I tried to ask this because this is the 306, account. And then at 307, at 5 a.m. approximately. Now, again, the light has shifted because it's the lighting of everything. It's not as dark, even though it's still not this is the moon going down, right? But notice the lighting. It's so weird. I'm trying to get AI, because AI is it's leaning more towards this just infrared, but it's just so weird because it feels like there is a light source on up here. Again, I could be wrong on this. But it's just so weird. I don't see anybody sitting on the porch, but I'm worried about the lighting, because that would even just support my theory that some motion was detected, and is this set off with the motion light. Again, AI told me that there's a good possibility it's just how it's dark, much darker at 3 a.m., that when it's in the infrared mode, that you would get kind of this thing. So again, I'm not 100%, but it does look like there is a secondary light source on. Usually, they have that in tandem with, a motion light, so you could see what's going on. Again, I don't know, but that is just weird. Donna says there is a shadow from the deck rails. Would that be infrared? Yeah, I know what you're saying. Actually, you know what? That's not even actually a shadow. That is actually I want to say tile, but it's not tile. But you know what I'm saying. And you can see it, not in this shot. So it's technically not a shadow, although it does look like a shadow. It's just, after the steps, they have, clearly I put in some stone down, and it's literally set up that way. So, because if you think about it, that would make sense. Like the shadow would be, the lighting would have to be straight from this. And then I don't know where you would get this part of the shadow, right? You would have to have something like sticking up right here. So, yeah, because I did look at that. That's great to point out. But the same thing, I still think there's a light on. And again, what's a light doing? If there is, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not going to, feed you BS when I know there could be an alternate answer. I am human. I get things wrong. But I did look at both sides. Okay. All right. Moving on. I saw somebody put an amazing... God. Jesus. Hush Pup. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Hush Pup. Chris, your attention to detail is phenomenal. You'd be a brilliant detective. Please don't give up on Sebastian. Thank you for all you've done. Oh my gosh. Is that like 100? Because it's red. Okay, so it's about $40. Thank you. Yes, that's from South African. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Hush Pup. That is awesome. God bless you. Mason says it's clearly light. Like I said, I lean more towards the light, but I have to be transparent with you. When I ran it through AI, it was telling me it was leaning more towards it just being kind of illusion of the infrared. Again, that's where I would like to get, like a case together and put it on Reddit and 4chan and see what some of these amazing, because of course you've got so many people in different fields that could look at it differently, right? Again, I'm no expert in, I don't have any majors in anything, right? So, okay. So now let me blow your mind with this. There's nothing more, and nobody's talking about this case, and I feel like we need to. I'm telling you guys, I'm giving you a little hint throughout the show, and I promise you it'll kind of come full circle here in a minute. My God. Okay, my apologies. Oop. Okay, so, all right. So, let me just give you guys an idea of just how insane these cameras are at capturing stuff, right? We've kind of showed this, but I want to show you guys in a different perspective. Now, I apologize if you're on your cell phone. This is done on purpose to show you how freaking far away from the camera this is. I'm not sure if this is a 12-second or 1-minute event. I think this is a 12-second event. Either way, this is a guy being captured by a camera that is nearly 400 feet away, that is getting triggered. It's getting motion censored from a home that is nearly 400 feet on the other road because a guy is coming out to walk his dog. Keep that in mind. Now, there's multiple reasons why this got activated. One is he's coming out of an environment where he's got his porch light on, and as he walks in front, if you have a light source and you cross in front of it, you're breaking that light source and that motion sensor. And again, that's just the cherry on the top, right? But that is being censored by him. And here's me zoomed in, but I wanted to show you guys the full zoomed out. Again, this is a guy coming out of his home. Now, again, I know you can't see much. You can kind of see movement. This is a guy that's 400 feet away. He's got his porch light on. This is getting triggered because of him. 400 feet away. Small little light. Now, what do you guys think would happen? Now, let me show you guys. You guys have seen me overlay this. This is the end of the right part. We're looking at the back yard of Stinkfeet's home. This light is a porch light from across the street. Very important. Then we have the garage floodlights from the Stinkfeet's home. Okay? So keep this in mind. If Sebastian were ever, anybody, to go across that light, and I should have showed the other part first, but I will. What do you think would have happened? Oh, my mic's too loud? Sorry, am I screaming in it? Okay, turn it down a little bit. Look at this. I mean, you can always turn the live down a little bit. This is not 400 feet. This is a little bit less. So there's a light source here. So that's where the camera's at. And if he is to, and this is where this is where the light source is at right here. The porch light, right? So not only does he have one backlight that would, if he walks through, is clearly going to set it off. Okay, I'll try to be careful. But then you have the floodlights from his own home. which is less than 200 feet away. Remember, we just had an incident where a camera was capturing motion from 400 feet away. Not to mention, we have a camera that is facing the front of the home. Now remember, of course, because Fish Sticks is just in love with garbage trucks. I guess, the symbolism kind of makes sense. Him and garbage, I guess, go together. Fish Sticks, garbage, makes sense, right? Because the stuff that he put out there is garbage, and it's no surprise that he's just in love with garbage trucks. Anyway, everybody has their thing, right? If Sebastian is to go north at all, in my opinion, there is no way in hell he is not caught on not one or two of these cameras. There's just no way. There's just no way unless they weren't recording. But we know that they were recording. We know that. So, to me, it just you just shut that down, right? Your investigative team, you look at it, you just do your basic common sense, know that you're looking at all these triggered events.
She has an encounter with 3 of my neighbors.
And you're noticing that none of these triggered events are going off. Sorry, I went a little bit too far. There's just no way he would go north without being caught on one of these cameras. You have a huge porch light that no matter where, if he gets closer to this, that means he's going to get closer to this camera and set it off. It doesn't matter. If he breaks that light, that camera is going to capture that. We've seen it happen twice the distance almost. Well, not twice the distance on this one. But if we have the one with the floodlights here. And if it wasn't caught on one, it would definitely be caught on the other. I think there's a small chance he could maybe get by south again if there wasn't the stupid trash truck that Fish Sticks is in love with. I would love to see what the front yard looked like on the right side, if you're facing it. Because, Katie, or Kit Kat, likes to talk about how she had her solar lights out in front. Which, again, any light source, and you have something breaking that light source, it is likely going to set off. These cameras they're just getting obviously so much better through time. And if you're on the other side, wouldn't you use this to your advantage and say, look, we have this home. Okay, so, I don't want to forget where I'm going with another big, huge point. So most of you guys know who this backyard belongs to. I have to be careful. But it clearly belongs to, in my opinion, a douchebag that works part-time for law enforcement. This same douchebag was the one that went to the vigil. He happens to have the first same name as Crispy. Ironic, right? This other second Crispy guy was the guy that was freaking out on the vigil. Now, imagine you got a camera set up. Definitely, at the very least, you have the motion folders, the action folders. You go back and look, and you start realizing you've got motion around 3 a.m. And then you have a vigil a few days later, and you're at the vigil, and you're freaking out. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. This is so much worse. What do you guys think that means? Do you think he, was like, oh shoot. Rumor has it. I know there was rumors that maybe there was an affair going on. But one thing we do know is that both Crispies knew each other fairly well. I don't know. I want to be careful with how I say this. They've interacted with each other for a bit before Sebastian went missing. There's another issue. Now, law enforcement may have this footage and the footage across the street. But from what I understand, I don't know if the other team has this footage. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I'm leaning more towards the latter. That is not good because these cameras, they're literally pointing at the epicenter. They're almost covering a 360 degree, even though it's nighttime. Look, this is an infrared camera, right? I know the camera across the street is, more of a more basic ring camera, but you know what else these cameras have? These cameras have audio. Both do. The ring camera across the street. Now, hers, I think, is a little bit older. Not old, but has about 20 to 30 feet of clear audio. And then after 30 feet, it is now going to be kind of garbled audio. But you would still hear stuff. This camera kind of depends on the generation. It also has audio. If I was on Fishstick's team, I would not only release a clip, I would release the audio. Because if we don't hear anything, because there would definitely be a car, unless it's an electric car, we would probably hear something. There could be a car door slamming. Not like slamming, but if they're moving into the vehicle, it could definitely pick up a car door slamming. Just saying. People can enhance audio. So I'm going to show you one last thing here. And I appreciate everybody being in here. Yes, I do, Haley. I do. I can't say that like officially. Allegedly, I think that is the case. But I got one more big thing. One more big thing. I've been hinting at it this entire time. Maybe some of you guys seen it. Thank you, Ashes to Ashes. God bless you. I appreciate the support. You guys are amazing. And if somebody donates through PayPal or Venmo, I forget to check that. Kimberly, thank you so much for the PayPal. God bless you, sweetheart. Seems like I'm now getting my PayPal updates, but the Venmo, I need to go in and check that. So if you do send like a Venmo or something, if you could let me know in the chat, just let my mods know so I can address that, because I want to show my support. Okay. Okay.
I can't wait to
I'm
see
positive.
him. I want to find him so bad.
How do you know what clothes he was wearing?
Okay.
That video.
Again, just think of.
I would.
Again, I wish they didn't put this bright circle. This is probably from Fishstick's team when they did this. It's so stupid. I hate when they. I get what they're trying to do, but I hate when you get altered footage, because then it's, you can't really fix it because now it's got the stupid thing. Anyway, I don't know if you know these two clowns, but from what I understand, they're clowns. I don't know who they are, but from what I heard, they're clowns. But we're going to really start to rattle some things here, because there's more. Okay, so we started at 6. Okay, I want to try to get this. Okay, I think we'll show one more. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Again, get ready for this.
and stuff like that, I can tell you.
Correct. We're not.
We're not gonna play that. Not that.
What's going on there? With the mousing for over 7 months, parks.
Right, here we go. Of course, go subscribe to Silver's on the Scene. God, what an amazing guy. One of these days, I can't wait to just. I would have the honor to shake his hand. What an amazing guy, and of course Silver's and Silver's too, and his family. Crispy fish sticks. Okay. Hopefully you guys get that. The Apple Watch. I have to kind of figure out how I'm going to say this. This case, I'm going to tell you right now, before we get to the Apple Watch, this case right now, if it gets out of Sumner County's hands and it gets into any other department that has the passion to actually look at this case, they could build a case probably within a month, depending on, their team. It is all right there, guys. I'm telling you guys, this case is going to be solved. As long as it gets out of Sumner County's hands, in a department that cares, this case will be solved. I promise you. It is all there. It is all, oh my God, it is all there. It is just in the wrong hands right now. And then after that month investigation, then get an AG, prosecutor that has, just even a set of stones beneath them. And again, I know the biggest issue is they don't have Sebastian. That is their biggest hang up, right? They don't have Sebastian. But that doesn't matter. They have the evidence. I'm telling you guys, they have the evidence enough to put the person responsible or persons responsible, to charge them with enough. Child neglect, whatever. I'm not a lawyer. I think child neglect would be up there. They have it. And they just need that attorney, that AG, the prosecutor that's got the stones to push forward and start unraveling the threads. The threads are there. They're ready to be pulled. I'm telling you guys, they're ready to be pulled. Oh my God. This case, in the right hands, it will be solved. I promise you that. This Apple Watch. All right, let's get into it. And then you're going to get a little bit of snarky Chris. Okay, holy hell. Here's her Apple Watch. Days, weeks, months before Sebastian goes missing. Then all of a sudden he goes missing. This Apple Watch is gone. But it's not gone. Not gone. No. But she's not wearing it anymore. Which is really, really weird. Makes me wonder if they took some trips and they didn't want to be, tracked. Because an Apple Watch is literally just basically you might as well just insert a tracking device in you, right? That Apple Watch is a little tracking device, right? But now you've ditched it. You have it. Law enforcement would take it eventually. But, and of course I've not seen her wear it ever again. I've looked at every single photo I can find, and there is no photo of her wearing the Apple Watch anymore. And You might have heard on somebody's podcast. I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me in the chat. I remember hearing. I think somebody had Fisher on. Maybe it was Jay for Justice. Again, I'm not trying to call her out. I'm just trying to think of the show that had Fisher on, and somebody had checked and could, let me know. I think it's Fisher. I'm sorry, Fish Sticks. I don't know who Fisher is. Fish Sticks. They had Fish Sticks on. He had mentioned that they had collected data from the Apple Watch. Anybody remember that? Do you guys remember that? Well, what you may not know is when deep diving some rabbit holes, they found data. They found data from that night. I can't tell you any more than that. If anybody wants to guess in the chat, maybe what kind of data, something going on, it's effing disturbing what I discovered. And I wouldn't tell you guys know me. I back it up. I see some people mentioning it in chat. I'm not gonna post it, but I see it in chat. See it in chat. I want to smack my head so bad on this table, and then I want to go drive to Tennessee. My God, this case, the evidence is there, people. The evidence is there. So let me tell you the other thing. Again, I'm not going to confirm or deny, but it's in the chat. It's in the chat. You guys had some hints at the beginning. And again, I wouldn't just... you guys know me. I just wouldn't spew this stuff out. And if you remember, I'm pretty sure Fish Sticks. I don't know if anybody remembers and can say what if you can, just say Jay. It was on Jay. Again, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was Fisher. Fish Sticks. And he said, yeah, we downloaded the data. Well, yeah. So, a couple more things. Oh, and there's more. Oh, God. It never ends, people. It just never ends. And I just want to smack my head going, why? Why? This case should have been solved in the first 2 months, less than that. I hate going the route of corruption, but I believe there is corruption going on. Because from what I understand, the two main cameras that are the most important cameras, only law enforcement has. And then how is it that the only other person to get it? Because I don't think Dog Team's got it. I could be wrong. But we know Fisher got it. And we know who Fisher was hired by. Just put two and two together. Right? Maybe it was on Moore Lodge. You could be right, Kathy. I just remember he did. He mentioned it. I think it was pretty just kind of like just, and you could be right. Maybe it was on Moore Lodge. But yeah, he just says, yeah, we got I think actually you're maybe right on that. But yeah, he said, yeah, we got the Apple Watch and we got data. Yeah, I think I need to write that down and find that. I think you are spot on that. I thought it was because, I know Fish Sticks went on some of the other channels. Okay, so let me tell you guys something here, because there's going to be a day when those responsible get arrested. Now, have you ever guys noticed that, obviously we have this divide with the two groups, right? And we know one group definitely was very close with Fish Sticks, Crispy, Kit Kat, and those groups, right? And I know that they heard some stuff that should have shocked the shit out of them if they have a conscience. But, so here is the thing. Do you think those channels that have been, building up their viewers or subscribers, when everything was kind of at that, when it was kind of, late October up to like February, even March, where everything was kind of at the peak, coming up on the anniversary and everything. Do you think if one of those people came across something, but they had built this following, right? Do you think they would say something and flip ship and now say, oh, I don't think Seth did anything. I think Crispy and definitely Kit Kat had something to do with that. If I were to do my next live and I started saying, I believe Crispy and Kit Kat, Seth is the one, what do you think would happen to either my subscribers or any other one of those channels that flipped? Do you think they would gain subs? Do you think they would stay the same? Or do you think they would lose massive subs? What do you guys think? It's politics. It is politics. Now, there's a reason why I bring this up. Because there's going to be a day when there'll be arrests made. Arrests. Just need to get it into the right hands. Get it out of Sumner County. Those dirty, corrupt people. And I'm going to, after, we cover that, we're going to do a live show. And we are going to have our first tea party. I don't do drama. I like to have the little snarky a little bit. But you bet your ass we are going to have a tea party. Because there's stuff, again, I have my connections. Again, I don't know everything. But I hope I've proven that, the sources that I have. I've tried to, bring up how obviously I wouldn't be able to get this stuff that I'm showing you right here without building rapport and trust and sources. I know that some of these bigger groups have came across evidence that is absolutely, in my opinion, very damning towards a certain party. Yet they have chosen to look away. I want you to keep that in mind. They're going to look away. You know why they're going to look away? Politics. Because if they go live the next day and flip the script and say, hey, screw Crispy and Kit Kat, I believe Seth, the viewer's going to be like, what the F? Because, you get some of the bigger content creators. And those viewers are obviously, maybe one show goes live earlier in the day and, another show goes live later in the day, and they kind of just go back and forth, and they build this, obviously they build this community, right? As our community, right? Could you imagine if I go live tomorrow and, flip the script on you guys? And I'm telling you, Seth is the dirtiest piece of trash. Are you guys going to, I might have some die-hard followers, but I guarantee you, I post a live flipping the script, I'll lose 1,000 subs easy, and I ain't gonna be able to support myself. Think about that. And I would not say this if I did not know for a fact that some of these people have came across some shit. They have came across some shit, and it's just, Me, I have to sleep at night, right? I have a conscience, right? I got to wake up in the morning. There's no fucking way in hell I am going to sell my soul to the devil when it comes to a missing 19-year-old kid. Wait, 19. I've done so many 19, 16. I'm sorry. My first mini. Dyslexic. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But this missing teenager, and I come across something that completely contradicts the way I'm going, and I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna overlook that, because I really just want to stick with building my base and my subscribers, because my subscribers are more important. Yes, I'm covering true crime, but my subscribers are more important. There will be a tea party after this is all done, and I will drop some bombshells, because goodness gracious, this is disgusting. It has been basically about 2 hours. Let me get to chat a little bit. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I had literally 3 shows. I'm going to save the last one for my members and Patreons. I'll probably bring it up, in a future live. There's another angle to this. And it's something that I did in the Brian Koberger case. So if you've been following me for a while, you may know. I don't want to get... I'll just say it involves audio, right? We haven't talked much about the audio. But holy shnikes. Most of these cameras have audio. Some have noise-canceling audio. And screw the footage. If we have the amount of cameras in the areas that we're pretty sure we do and have audio, they should have definitely picked up a car running, a car door shutting. Again, and I'll explain that more in my members and Patreons, and then maybe bring it up in a future live, and I'll show you guys. For those that have been with me a long time, know that I can enhance audio. And yeah. Thank you so much. Love your passion, Chris. God bless you, Sandra. Geneva, good to see you, sweetheart. 33 months. It's awesome. You're looking good. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Lady for Justice, thanks for keeping Sebastian awareness out there. Yeah, we're going to, like I said, I would like to bring it to the Reddit and 4chan group, because I know the 4chan groups are more the tech side of things, right? You can, for those that don't know, have you ever heard of Anonymous? Some of the most amazing hackers. That was formed in a 4chan, I think 4chan, I'm pretty sure it's 4chan. Some of the most experienced hackers, and, anyway. Not that I want them to go hack people and stuff, but they have, they would have their benefits. Marie says, thank you, Chris. Great work. Let's get Sebastian home. Right. Thank you so much, Marie. And Marion says, greetings for August. I had stomach issues for years. It was all psychological. Yeah, I heard it can kind of like feed, because mental health and physical health, it's, it can be a battle. Susan becoming a member. Thank you so much, Susan. God bless you, sweetie. Thank you to everybody. Thank you so much, Stacy. Sarah says, the key is true crime, not false crime. They seem to have lost the reason for their channels and turned into soap operas. Exactly. And I promise you, when this case gets solved, you hold it to me, we will have a tea party, and it'll be probably one of the only tea parties I ever hold, but I want to hold the people that ignored evidence that is just so damning that it's just like, how dare you? How dare you? How can you sleep at night? How? Again, it's like my heart rate is going, kind of through the roof. Weird. Oh God. Oh my gosh. What I've uncovered today, oh geez. I'm going to be, holy shit. I'm going to need some Tylenol. And again, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I quit stuff a long time ago. I do vape. That's my only clutch, but man, if I drank, this would be the night that I'd just meet, like, holy hell. There's some people out there that are just truly disgusting. And we need to get this out of Sumner County. We need to. And it will happen. It will happen. We need to come together. We need to, like I said, I'd like to take this to Reddit and 4chan for one angle. And then, I know Seth is trying to get it to the federal level. Again, I've heard mixed things on how that goes because, again, that's kind of out of my area expertise, but, unless they have evidence of state lines or, I don't know how that works. Jennifer's Coffin Dapper said that, the National Exploited Children, missing children, that they have a task force that could take it over, which, I kind of blew my mind. I didn't know they had a task force. Again, get it out of Sumner County's hands. Corruption I hate using corruption. You guys, for those who've been with me, I hate using it. I feel like it's just an easy cop-out. This is corruption. There's corruption going on. If you know, can't you report? So here's the problem under your scars. Yes, I've reported a lot of stuff. I've sent a lot. Believe you me, I've sent a lot of stuff. And here's the issue. In the last few times that we sent stuff over, even from what I helped, guess what? No reply. Nothing. Not a thank you, not a, hey, okay, we'll look into this, or, you know what, thank you for your time, but we've already looked down this avenue. Nothing. That is why Seth is done with this. He's tried to be cordial and play their games and, try to send stuff, but it's supposed to be a two-way street, and that is stopped. It is like they just want to say, quit bringing this up. We don't want to do, we want nothing to do with this. And if we just get content and we don't, we forget about this case, the evidence is there. I'm telling you guys, oh my God. Just like when I showed you at the beginning, all it took is one little piece of plastic to send a guy away for, I don't know if he got life, but, he got sent away for probably most of his life, what was left of it anyway, with the hit and run bicycle thing. That's why I showed that. It was kind of like a full circle. This day and age, we've got surveillance footage. God knows what kind of phone records, the Apple Watch. Again, there's stuff on the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch. And I'm going to tell you, those fish sticks knew. Who else was connected to fish sticks? I'm not going to name them, but you know who was connected to fish sticks. They knew. Shame on you. Shame on you. Oh, and there's more. There's always more. It just, oh my God. All right, so I got to stop because I'll get way too upset. Because just going through a rabbit hole and finding out some stuff, I just like, wow. So if you missed it, I would definitely go check out kind of what I learned about these clips and the timing of what, when he, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, this 3:06:51 seconds is really fishy. Get it? Fishy. It's really stinky fishy. And to me, I think there's a good possibility this is a clip from what they call an action clip. There's an event clip, action clip. Yeah, there's a bunch of different terminologies, but I think this is coming from a 12-second event clip or action clip, whatever. And I don't think he was thinking about us seeing this and realizing this. But I would have never, who would realize this unless you've seen a bunch of footage and then realize they break it down into the 12-second, 1 minute clip, and then I guess the 1 minute 20-second clip. So, yeah. I speak to, okay, so keep in mind, I do speak to somebody that's connected to Doc's team. As a matter of fact, before I went live, I sent some stuff over. So please keep in mind, if there's something I find, guaranteed, I'm not going to hold on to it, and I'm going to try to let the people that I believe know what's going on. Yeah, again, I have to be careful with what I say, but Remy, here's the two scenarios, right? Either, and we'll finish on this. The two scenarios I think that are the most likely. The first one is they moved him at 3 a.m., with the flashlights. They moved him at 3 a.m., probably got it done within about 6 minutes, right? 6 to 7 minutes, less than 10 minutes. Easy. They had this. And again, think about how the car is actually reaching right at 3 a.m. You have two people that, at least one person there that has worked in the military, in the Navy. We know, for those that have ever had, family members or, family members that have been in the military or anything like that, when they come back after boot camp and stuff like that, they're heavily organized, they're punctual, they're different. They are organized, right? So, first theory, which I lean more towards just because there's a lot of evidence to point towards this, is they moved him at 3 a.m., right? A lot of evidence to point that way. Or the second one, and this would be genius, this would be absolutely genius, is if KK, they did do that flashlight thing, right? But that was all just a decoy, right? To, get them getting law enforcement, whoever's covering the case, to chase their tails about this unknown car. And there was actually no body transferred, and just, they messed around. Right. And he was actually just in that car, in KK's car. And then that morning, when she runs out, says, I can't find Sebastian. And then goes in her car. And I think before she gets to the school or after, but before she comes back, is when she goes to that one place just near it. I forget the name of it. You guys can tell me in chat. And she switched it with she switched the body with another person. And I'll be honest, that would be absolutely, I hate to say it, genius, but that would be absolutely wild. I think those are the two scenarios, right? Because it's so weird that Crispy gets so upset when you bring up that. Yeah, Worshams, that's it, right? Don't talk about Worshams. Don't talk about his truck. Don't talk about Sebastian. Don't talk about KK. Don't talk about this case. F off. Right? But I think that's the two scenarios. After everything that I've seen, I think she did try to get Like, I don't think she would have been dumb enough to throw him in the trash. I think that would just been like either the boldest move if it got through, or the dumbest move. But I don't think they would have done that. I also think it's almost and there's another thing, is if that first one was a ploy, the flashlights, you know, it'd be another great ploy, is to fill an extra trash can heavy, right? With like, you know, just junk but heavy stuff to make them think that there was a body in there. And then they go fucking spend, you know, God knows how much money, hours, manpower to go search a effing landfill. All these volunteers, that drone operators that were involved in the search, when if they would have spent a little bit of time looking at the footage, they would have said, no, there's no effing way this kid went north. There's no effing way. How do you get past the first two cameras that are literally looking at the front and back of the house? There's no way. Maybe a slight possibility he goes south, but then you've got a whole slew of other cameras he's got to get around, right? No way. Get out of here, you idiots. Again, and I'm just kind of screaming idiots at just law enforcement in general. But my hell. So that's my thing, right? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't talk about mama. Don't talk about my mama. Don't you talk about my mama. I'll give him that one, you know. Although she does, no, you know, I'm going to take the high road on that one. I'll take the high road on that one. That's what I was thinking about today. I wonder which one you're talking about, but yeah, I do wonder if there could have been a deflection and then she moved the body to Warsham's. And I mean body as in it could be alive or not. You know, maybe she drugged him and moved him. And of course, I pray that he's found alive. Yeah. Blenda, yeah, I can see that. It would be genius, you know. It would be genius because you would set up a ruse at the 3 a.m. thing, have some random car drive around, act weird while these lights are going on, but then they just the car's not connected in any way, and they can't prove that Sebastian. And then then you put something heavy in your trash can to make it look, and now they're spending all this time at the trash landfill. And then he's been in that car the entire time. That's why we never see, you know, Sebastian ever on any of these cameras, because he was just in the home the entire time, and then just he was in the trunk, or probably in the trunk, and you know, in that scenario. And then she's gonna act like she's going to search for Sebastian. They're starting to call the cops. She makes a quick stop at Worsham's. I mean, I hate to say brilliant, it's disgusting, but, you know, again, I think those are the two main, right? So, but I'm not giving up on this, guys. Believe me, again, what I uncovered today, and I haven't, like I said, I had, this turned into 3 shows. Well, I'm doing 2 shows, but I have another one. That there's another route that we could go. So again, we're going to build this up again, right? And again, it's going to be a community effort as always. Yeah, definitely. They're out there. All these people, all these wonderful people that go out and search for the missing, because, you know, they're so dedicated, because they just want to, you know, be part of that group that brings that kid home alive, you know. But no, he was 99% never out there. And these people, one of the biggest searches in Tennessee for a missing child, and the money and stuff that was spent on him. At the end of the day, if it doesn't get in the right hands, they need to go civil suit. Seth needs to go civil suit. They don't need a lot of evidence. There's no jury. We've seen how it happened in the OJ case. It was pretty straightforward on the civil suit. They didn't have to prove much. And they won their case. And then maybe that could get the ball rolling on, light a fire under, an AG's ass to actually, oh shit, we need to get a team and we need to actually do our job, right? Oh yeah, Geneva, yeah. We can do all caps. Yeah, thank you, Enjas. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I just try to ask, especially Geneva. I know some people have site problems, but yeah, she's needs that full caps. So we've kind of backed down that, but I appreciate Enjas. God bless you for being in here in Sensei, with 1,000 people in here, more or less. Thank you guys for the love and support. I'm trying to pull up some random chats because I know I've been rambling on. It's just been a hell of a day. Yeah, Hush Pup. Yeah, I know some people think he didn't get home. It's possible. It's possible. I would love to see that footage from across the street, right? Again, that. Jeez. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you to everybody in the chat. And then, of course, I have to especially thank my wonderful mods. I know a lot of them are out today due to various issues, but Njaz and Sensei, thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. And then thank you to my members and Patreons. And I will have something for you guys hopefully tomorrow, because I wanted to have it out actually today, but then I got distracted. So thank you, Barb. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazing people. And again, I wouldn't be this fired if I didn't have nearly 1,000 people. That just goes to show that it's not just me. It's you guys that care about this case. It's not just me keeping this case. It's you guys. We are a community feeling each other, right? And I'm telling you guys, this case can be solved. The evidence is there. I've heard so many disturbing things, and there will be a tea party to explain that. And we're gonna tear the roof down, right? So with that, guys, it's been 2 hours, so I'm gonna cut it there. Thank you guys. You guys are lovely, wonderful people. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to hopefully do a Members Live Sunday so we can do various things, some various fun things. I promise you we'll have a fun live. And then, yeah, I'll try to get some shorts out as well. Thank you, Lakeside Lawyer. Forget me not. Alan, good to see you. Roxy, God bless you, sweetie. I'm trying to shout everybody out. Yeah, Members Live Sunday. Write that down. All right, guys. Much love to you guys. And